And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and this is yet another Steam game, another one that my home crew. I don't remember what else I was gonna say. A couple people in Pringleson Company, Lucas and the Bias, Ken Pomeroy, wanted me to play. And that is Celeste, which I've heard is a very, which going in I heard that this was going to be a very hard game, and it was not too, they were not lying when they said that. I don't remember exactly when this game came out. I know it's out on the Switch as well, but I played it on Steam with a PS4 controller, as always. And I came in, expecting it to be, like I said, a hard game. It's a platformer type game. I heard difficult and one of the hardest video game levels of all time. That's in the DLC. I didn't get the DLC for this game though, but I actually start off I really did enjoy this game. That doesn't mean I enjoyed every aspect of it, but overall, I did really enjoy this game. So let's just get into some notes that I had. One thing that I really appreciate, and I said this I think in the what was the other game review? Cave Blazers, I think it was. The Cave Blazers review where you can modify the game mode so that, it makes it a little bit easier, or you can have it on harder mode, whatnot. And I think that's great. I think a lot of games nowadays should have that because it makes the game more playable for everyone. There's going to be the harder core gamers who want something a little, more challenging to play. There's going to be some people that just want to play a little bit easier the version, maybe just enjoy it a little more, not deal with a lot of the frustrations that you might get, and even just in the normal mode of the game. And I think that a lot of the more games should adapt to that. So I think it makes it really fun for everybody. And Celeste, I credit you to that. That's a good one. Some of the controls were a little jank. I mean, you have to run. There's going to be a lot of jumping and holding the climb button at the same time. And, sure, I mean, it's okay. You get used to it eventually. It's a little jank to start. And there's some parts where, you get up to the cliff and you're holding on the trigger to grab, and the character just does not grab. It just doesn't. It can be a little annoying, I should say, because you have to do it a lot. There's a lot of tense areas, especially later in the game, like level 6, level 7, where you're going to really be annoyed at that. So get ready for that. A lot of the characters in this game creep me out. The one that creeped me out the most was that old lady who does a hi 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 with the ha-has coming out, and she had this weird thing on her lip, and she had a cane, and she was living in the mountains. Why the fuck are you living in the mountains, lady? You're too old for this stuff. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, we're good. She freaked me out. There was the ghost guy freaked me out too. And there's my sneeze. Sorry for that. They no, just characters were weird and they creeped me out, and yeah, not fun. One thing that was really annoying, and this is more so not just on the fact that this is a difficult game, but also maybe as part of the design of the game, they make it so there's not a lot of distinction between what is a wall and what isn't a wall, aka what you can climb on and what you can't. So some things that may, at one point in the game, are a wall and look like a wall, when you get to that same thing or something extremely similar, and probably what it is, and you get there and you attempt to climb it and you just go right through it because it's not really a wall, it's like a vine or something like that. You can't really climb onto it, or you get hurt from it or whatnot. It can be a little deceiving, and that was a little annoying. But there's also platforms where it looks like, there's areas that are covered up by some brush, and you're like, there's a ground beneath it, and there is no ground, and you fall, or there is when you really don't. And you get lost in this chasm of vines and purple stuff and whatnot, trying to jump through like divots and stuff and just try and figure out where you are. And because, you know, you're hitting a corner, you're hitting a wall that you have to jump out and over, and you don't know that because you can't see it, and that can be a little annoying. As far as complexity and overall difficulty as a whole in the game, this was one of the most challenging games I've played. And this is, I call it challenging because it is all the levels are they really challenge your ability. They challenge your reflexes. They challenge your memory. They challenge your speed and skill, and especially in the last two levels of the game. You're really gonna see that chapter 3 as well. That's another one that is rough, and it's really gonna test you. So just look out for that. But I say that they're challenging and it's a very difficult game to play. But I'm not mad when I say that. It's not infuriatingly bad. Okay, these levels are very well designed with their puzzles and their exploration and the way the game runs, for the most part, outside of a couple things I already talked about and a couple of things I will talk about a little bit later. I think overall they're designed very well, and so it's not like I'm mad at them because they're bad. I'm mad at them because they're just difficult. So I can very much appreciate the level. It's not like Crash Bandicoot where I'm like yelling at the game because a bad depth perception or shadows that don't exist. No, I really enjoyed that. But be warned, it can be hard. I didn't play the bonus stuff either, so I can't say that. I'll talk about that a little bit later, though. There's really weird physics rules in this game, too. With just like how the wind is blowing and just how stuff falls out underneath you and how you get like launched from stuff by just merely jumping, and how you can just change direction on a whim, and then some other points you can't. Some stuff you like so precise that you gotta like jump up and boost at the right dash. It's called dash at the right time. And some points, just let the game do what it wants. It's weird. It's weird. It's a good weird, but it's weird. The levels in this game are really long. We'll get to that. But there's only 7 main levels in the game, and including the prologue. The prologue isn't that long, so really it's 6. I guess I don't know if the prologue really counts. I'm not gonna say it counts, but well, maybe. I guess I'll count the prologue. The game, the wiki counts the prologue, so I'm gonna count the prologue. That's not that long, but the actual levels are really long. But again, there's only 7 of them, so can be excused. And that's good because they put a lot of effort into each level. I do think some of them do drag on. Level 7 is one that I think really drags on. There's a couple others that I really think, like the one, is it level 3 with the ghost guy in the hotel. That one goes on for a really long time too. And the one where you're chasing your alter ego through the base, like the core of the earth, that one's also long, stupidly long in my opinion. So, but they're only 7. They're still interesting. They're still fun to play, or at least enticing enough. It's not really that big a deal. One thing that really annoyed me was stamina. I'm not a big fan of having stamina in games. I'm looking at you, Minecraft survival mode. Stamina, I don't think stamina is cool. You can turn stamina off in the make your own game mode thing. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called like assist mode or something like that. Stamina is just stupid, in my opinion. I really don't. I get why games put it in there, but we're trying to escape reality with playing video games. Like, we don't want to be reminded that we only can go so far before we have to refill. And, And then there's points in the game where like you're almost out of stamina and you're just jumping from thing to thing. Don't make stamina in games. It's annoying. Very annoying. One thing that I did really not expect this game to address or combat was the topic of anxiety and depression. It does that a lot with your character, and also with the other climber, Theo, that you meet. And it deals with, like, that's what the whole thing with the alter ego is, and stuff. And I did not expect that to be in this game at all. But I think that's really good that they implemented that, because it conveys a strong message, and it really does have some real advice for people who deal with that kind of stuff. And I think that's really cool. So I credit them a lot for putting that in. That's really cool. I got a couple other things. Some of the characters are indistinguishable except for like when their faces pull up or in the cutscenes, and this is because the game is in the graphics are similar. I'll say the graphics of the game that most resembles the graphics of Celeste, in my opinion, is Terraria. So I think that it's maybe a little bit worse, but not by much. But like sometimes they just pop up as like bland heads. And then, oh, that's the grandma. Oh, that's Theo. Oh, there's the ghost guy again. Oh, this is your character. Would have been nice for a little more detail in the faces. Like I know you put a lot of detail with the cutscenes and whatnot when they're like talking. Would have been nice for a little more. Okay. And then once you beat the game, there's also a sense of replayability with the core. And I think that's cool, to give the game some nice replayability, because you probably are going to be wanting to be tempted to play it again. I know I tried it. I went back and actually started playing the core a little bit. I didn't get very far because you do have to go back through some of the levels to get some stuff, and I just wasn't going to do that. I'm like, I'll be done with this game. I don't need it. And then there's also DLC, which has that really, really hard level that I saw online, and God forbid me I've ever played that level, but you got that too. So it gives a nice added bit of replayability. You don't see that a lot in platformer games like this, and I think that's really cool, because it gives you more value once you buy the game to play it again, and makes it nice. So, but yeah, I didn't have very high expectations coming into this. All Brian and Lucas basically told me was, play this and become trans. Well, newsflash, I am not trans. So checkmate, liberals over there at Celeste. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the game. I still really enjoyed this game. Kind of blew me away. There's lots of things that I really did not expect there to be in this game. And it was overall, while really challenging, still fun to play. So my final score for Celeste, I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. It's been a while since I've given a score that high. This game definitely deserves it. So feel proud. You got the Pringleson seal of approval, developers of Celeste. There you go. Oh, I forgot to mention the strawberries. They're cool. They don't really do anything, though. Comment down below if they're supposed to do anything. I know they make that pie at the end. Do you get like better approval on the pie if you get more strawberries? I want to know. But anyways, if you've played Celeste as well, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comments section down below. If you've played the core, played the DLC, I'd love to know your thoughts on that as well, since I probably won't get to that. And that's going to do it for this video, for this game review. I got a lot more games still to play, so more of these will be coming up. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for other much more amazing content. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.